Welcome back to WaterparkRangers. Let's play Pikmin 2! In the last episode, we entered this dungeon, the Cavern of Chaos. The 12th. I guess this is the dozenth dungeon. That's difficult to say. Anyway, down here on this floor, it may seem like it's very similar to the Man-at-Legs floor, because it basically is a Man-at-Legs floor. They didn't bother to make a new one. But they actually did change up the enemies here, of course. We've got some swooping stitch bugs here, but the main draw of the level, I suppose you could say, is that we have 3 fiery Bauble axes. So I hope you've gotten good at fighting these by now. Typically what I would recommend is that before entering the Cavern of Chaos, you would bring along a good amount of bitter sprays, say 5 at the least. At least 5, because there's going to be one for each of the one for each of the fiery Bauble axes here. And later on, we'll find some Gatling Groinks, and it's good to have at least one spray for each of them. And I suppose a spray could come in handy on the boss if you get into a kind of a tight spot. It's always just nice to have a bitter spray in case you're really worried. But once again, actually I'm not sure if I've mentioned this before, but a lot of the extra advice I give you is basically advice that's just very cautionary. For example, if you're trying to do a no-deaths run, all this information is really useful for preventing deaths. If you bring along sprays, typically they go a long way to helping out that cause. Anyway, because we don't have any bitter sprays, we're just going to have to make do with just this group of red Pikmin. I made sure to bring quite a few along, though, because reds are very useful against fiery Bauble axes. There are actually, unless you can find a body of water, reds are really your only choice for fighting them, because other Pikmin are going to light on fire the second you touch them. If you do have purples, you can use purples to damage them and sometimes stun them, but as soon as a purple hits it, you're going to have to call the purple back because it'll be on fire, obviously. But if you do manage to throw purples, like, on top of it, you can pound it a little bit and cause it to take a bit of damage, but really, that's much more troublesome than just fighting it with reds. And wow, actually, I haven't lost a single yet. I think the trick to beating them is that you do what I've been doing with the red Pikmin, and then you might notice, or it's kind of tough to see, but after they stand up, just have Olimar punch it a few times, get up close. And with the Rocket Fist upgrade, Olimar just does just enough damage to kill it as soon as it stands up. So this has been actually going pretty well. And it's kind of cool that they set it up like this, because you have to kill each of the fiery Bauble axes, because everyone does have a treasure. And I don't think there's actually anything in the center of the arena. But yes, one thing you're going to start seeing a lot more in the last 3 dungeons of the game, starting with the Cavern of Chaos, is that they're going to get a little bit lazy with dungeon design and sometimes just reuse an old floor and put different stuff in it. Like this Man-at-Legs floor here. And then later on there's going to be some other floors. I know in the final dungeon there's going to be a couple. Like you remember that floor that had all the bomb rocks and volatile dweevils in the subterranean complex? Well, if you don't, because that pretty much just sounds like I'm describing any floor of the dungeon there to you, it's the 5th one. The one with all the ramps and stuff, they just literally take that exact floor without changing a thing about the layout and just make you go through it again. With different enemies, of course, and I think gas pipes too. The last dungeon loves gas pipes. Anyway, that makes the 3rd of them, so we have everything there on the floor. All done. I'm not sure if I mentioned this before, but I think I might have mentioned it in the Frontier Cavern, but in case I didn't, I will say this. Just be sure that before you go down to the next floor of a dungeon, that you pull all the Pikmin sprouts that are buried on each sublevel. For example, if a swooping stitch bug plants your Pikmin in the ground, and you don't pluck them before going down to the next floor, you won't be able to get those Pikmin again, so that'll actually count as deaths, because they won't be there for you to pluck later if you come back to that floor. Because of the random generation, it would be too much to make you pick up Pikmin on a floor again. And it would cause all kinds of weird things to happen, like, theoretically, it would make you not be able to take 100 Pikmin into the dungeon, because there would already be so many sprouts waiting for you below. So to avoid that kind of problem, they just made it so that if you leave any buried Pikmin in the ground, they will just die if you leave the sublevel. So just make sure that, like, when you're on rest floors, after you go and get the Pikmin changed with the candy buds for whatever reason, just make sure that you pluck them. I know it sounds like a small thing, but their count is like left behind deaths, I think, if you just if you forget to get them. Anyway, this sublevel, no longer do we have rusty metal in this dungeon. We actually cycle through a few different layouts of floors in this dungeon, which is a first, really. All the others so far have had a consistent theme, pretty much. Now the last 3 dungeons kind of just play with a lot of different themes, and now here we've got the standard cave theme. This sublevel is just full of creeping chrysanthemums, and there's a few falling boulders too, so you want to By the way, how did he miss all the Pikmin with that bite right there? That just seemed really weird. Like, he has horrible aim. And, of course, a couple of Mamutas also. You saw us fight one already. As you know, Mamutas are not actually dangerous to your Pikmin, as they can't actually kill them. But if a Mamuta ends up bearing a huge swarm of Pikmin that you forget to pull before going to the next floor, that's a huge problem, because they'll all die, so just keep that in mind. Anyway, there's only 2 treasures here. There's that buried potato that we got earlier, which is apparently a child, according to the ship. And this cucumber that was kind of just sitting... No, pepper that was sitting there. Why did I call it cucumber? Cucumber is actually my least favorite vegetable. No, wait, that's not true. There are plenty of other things besides cucumbers that I don't like in terms of vegetables. Actually, this is a random fact, but I prefer, like, fresh, raw vegetables over cooked ones, typically. They're just more crisp, if you know what I mean. I sometimes think that if you just cook a vegetable for too long, it actually loses some of its flavor instead of bringing it out. Just a small chef fact for you, I suppose. Anyway, one little funny note about that sub-level is that there are actually the most creeping chrysanthemums there in the entire game. 5 on that floor. We were lucky to not run into any more than we did. I think in that one chamber where we pulled the pepper out, there were like 3 hidden in the flowers. I've actually gotten worse at telling which one was a creepy chrysanthemum over time. I think I used to be so good at telling, like I could even tell from the back, like which one was a creepy chrysanthemum. But I just can't tell anymore. Anyway, already we're coming across a boss enemy, and we're not even halfway through the dungeon yet. This is an Emperor Bulblax. We fought one in Bulblax Kingdom as the final floor boss. You might notice that they're pathetically small now. I don't know why they did that. It's kind of sad, actually. But the truth is, they have just the same amount of HP, and they're still really quick with their tongue. And they also have that yelling attack that scares your Pikmin. I'm not sure if we got the chance to see that the first time we fought one, because we killed it so quickly. But yes, they can do this yell that really scares your Pikmin and makes them run around. So you just want to call your Pikmin when the Pikmin gets scared. It's exactly what happens like when Midtites appear. Only, unlike Midtites, it doesn't last for as long. I do know that if there are Midtites hiding somewhere like buried in the floor, an Emperor Bulblax scream attack will wake them all up. So that is kind of dangerous. And the scream also unearths other nearby Emperor Bulblaxes, and you've already seen that it did that to one that was earlier roaming around on the floor. Looks like we lost the most reds there, so I decided that we'll just get more reds here with Queen Candy Pop Bud. It's very nice if they give you one here on this floor. They're sometimes pretty generous with these plants, except in the final dungeon where you need them the most. There are no Candy Pop Buds whatsoever. But there are 2 Queen Candy Pop Buds in this dungeon. There's one on this floor and I think another one on the next floor. At least that's what I remember. They're kind of fast. The one thing about them is that their tongue is so much faster than in the first game. Like, other than that, they're so much weaker. But the tongue is just... Whoa, no! Not good at all! Bombs! Run, White Pikmin, run! There's a lot of crap to contend with on this floor. We've already lost, like, all the Pikmin that we got from that one Candy Pop Bud. So, that was kind of horrible. Maybe a smarter thing to do would have been to deactivate the fire geysers and shut off and get the bomb rocks out of the way with captains first before going after the bosses. Pikmin are so stupid. Like, as soon as... Why would they ever want to break open a bomb rock? There is no good reason for a Pikmin to want to do that. Because they break it open and then just, like, stand next to it unless you call them away. And I believe we do have to kill, the other Emperor Bulblax. Because it actually has a treasure. The first one we fought didn't have a treasure. Alright, up you go. Whoa. Oh yeah, we damaged him earlier. For a second I was kind of worried. I thought that maybe he would have regained his life by burying himself back in the ground. Wow, I'm not doing so well against these guys. Normally I, like, hardly lose any Pikmin. Aha! Before you could scream, I was able to defeat you. Because your animation for when you scream takes just a little bit too long. And they become even smaller after they're defeated. It seems like they shrink slightly. It's like they shrivel up. That's kind of disgusting. Just a little bit kind of disgusting. At least we get a giant... I was about to say crab claw, but that looks like a lobster claw to me. So many things with food in this dungeon. We have peppers. Talked about cucumbers. But then again, every enemy in the Pikmin series is technically supposed to be edible. I'm not sure if I've shown you this yet about Louie's notes. You have to have done a certain something that you will do in a 100% complete file. We haven't done it yet. But after you get it done, and it's on your saved memory card, then basically for every single one of your Pikmin files, you get Louie's notes for each enemy that you encounter. Basically, you get it from defeating the final boss, for the record, and getting the rewards from the final boss. But I will say no more than that. Suffice to say, I don't like to spoil too many things that happen in games, even when they've been out for years and years, like this one. I don't know. There are some people who get really antsy about spoilers. I, for myself, am not very good at stopping from spoiling things about myself. I basically spoiled almost everything from Skyward Sword for myself. But I don't know. I kind of felt like I might as well, because I wasn't, like, super hyped up about Skyward Sword. It's like one of those games that I feel, okay, I'll get around to playing it one of these days. I'll just make sure to do it. People tell me it's good. I like Zelda games. I might do it one of these days, just like as much as any other Zelda game. And with that said, we'll continue with the Cavern of Chaos next episode. So level 5. See you then.